This project is designed for computer science students, cloud enthusiasts, developers, web designers, software testers, system admins, technical managers, and all those who are interested in starting out in DevOps, SRE, or cloud roles. This guided project should help you to get a high-level understanding of Azure Cloud. You will learn to build Azure virtual machines from the ground up. You will understand how Azure is applied for creating VMs from scratch using the Azure Web Console, and you will also understand how to create these Linux VMs and how to log into these Linux VMs using SSH, and then we'll go on to do a task in that VM. That is, we'll set up a web server, and then we'll host a static website in that VM. So that will demonstrate how to comfortably use the VM. Additionally, we'll also learn how to secure that VM, understand the network essentials for running Azure virtual machines, and in the end we will learn how to stop a virtual machine instance in the Azure cloud, and finally terminate and clean up things. So by the end of this guided project, you will emerge as someone who knows how to use Azure in order to create virtual machines and do simple tasks like hosting a static website on a virtual machine, logging into that virtual machine using SSH, securing the virtual machine. So you would be completely hands-on with Azure virtual machines. I'm excited to teach you all these concepts with real-world examples. However, in order to follow on effectively, you should have had exposure to elementary Linux commands, basic server concepts such as hosts, ports, file systems, and networks. You should be familiar to cloud terms like Azure, virtual machines, consoles, command line interfaces, and so on. On the right hand side, you will be able to see what I am doing in my desktop environment, and on the left you will see your own desktop environment, which of course you can fully interact with. You can pause or rewind my video at any time if you need more time practicing the commands we do together. Sounds good? So let's enter the world of Azure. To make our learning journey easier, I have set up a few resources here. So let's open up the browser, open up this Chrome browser as I am doing, and you will find a bookmark there. And that bookmark would take you to a repository which has these learning notes and resources related to Azure. So while this open up, let me talk about Azure Cloud. Now, Azure is a cloud computing platform that can provide everything a business needs to run all or part of its computing operations virtually. So this cloud platform offers servers, which can be virtual machines. It offers storage, databases, networking, analytics tools, containers, and so on. So here you can see a bookmark, Learn Azure. That will take you to a repository which contains the Azure learning resources. So here are some links which are of interest. You can watch this link, How Clouds Work. This will take you to my YouTube channel where I've explained how clouds work. You can subscribe the channel if you like. That will give you more such informative videos. And yes, in order to be able to execute the tasks in this course, you will need Azure account. So those of you who do not have an Azure account will need to create it before you can proceed. So you can pause this video and get your Azure account created. In order to create a free Azure account for demonstration and learning purposes, You can follow this link. It also leads to another video which shows how to create a Azure account. So you can follow that and do it. And once you're up with your Azure account, you should be able to follow the tasks in this guided project. Now, before moving on to the task, let's understand Azure deeper. So for that, click on this Azure Overview. That takes you to a presentation regarding the Azure Cloud Overview. So let me explain what Azure is. Now, there are multiple public cloud platforms. You might have heard of Amazon Web Services. You might have heard of Google Cloud Platform. And finally, this is Microsoft Azure that we are learning today. So Microsoft Azure is just another public cloud platform which ensures or offers a lot of features. So one of them is it has a presence worldwide. So Azure has data centers worldwide. So you can host it based on whichever region you want to. The servers and the platforms are scalable. So if there is more traffic, you would be easily able to scale up your server stack. It is secure, so there are multiple security rules that can be assigned which allow your web assets to remain secure and not vulnerable to attacks from outside. Then it has hybrid capability. So if you have a local data center or something which servers which lies in your own office, and you have some of the deployments done in the Azure cloud, so Azure has a capability to connect the Azure data center to your own local data center, so that you can easily transact between both the environments without having to have any special requirements to do that. Now, finally, it is very flexible. So using Azure Cloud, you can flexibly deploy any kind of application you like. So that is about how it functions. Now, these are some of the advantages of using the Azure interface. So as we discussed, it has a very good scalability. It allows faster time to market by using the DevOps tools in the Azure, and you have simple data storages. The cost is very optimized. It's reliable, secure, and compliant, and effectively integrates with other tools offered by Microsoft. Now, for any cloud offering, it is based on multiple models. So what are the cloud models? Like if you have an on-premise model, all these layers are managed by yourself. Like for any software stack, you have an application, you have data layer, you have runtime, middleware, operating system, you have virtualization, hypervisors, you have your own servers, storage, and networking. So hardware, software, middleware, everything is managed on-premise. That model is called an on-premise model. Now here, you manage everything. Like as I said, if you are managing your own private cloud in your office, then you manage everything. But in other cloud models, such as infrastructure as a service, like say if there is a hosting provider who manages networking, storage, servers, and virtualization, and you manage your operating system, middleware, runtime, that kind of a model is called infrastructure as a service. So Azure provides that as well. Like you can create your own virtual machine and do whatever you like. You can have Windows, Linux, or any operating system you like. You can implement any kind of middleware or application on it. You can have your database as you want, so you can do it to your own liking. So if this kind of an architecture is designed, it is called infrastructure as a service, where Microsoft Azure takes care of these layers while the rest lies with the user or us. Now, in a platform as a service model, you have only access to the applications and the data, so they manage the middleware, runtime, OS, virtualization, everything. So this is another model. And finally, there is a model called software as a service, where you use some Microsoft software hosted on their cloud, so you are just using it as an end user. For example, when we use a mail application like Gmail, so in that case, we just open up Gmail in the internet anywhere, and we access to our account. We don't manage the mail servers. Google does everything of that. So similarly, if there is such an offering which is managed by Microsoft Azure completely, and you are only having your user account, that is called software as a service. So right now, since we are dealing with virtual machines, we will be mostly doing this, infrastructure as a service. There are other use cases that will come along. So when we do it in future Azure courses or guided project, we'll cover these models as well. So now we are doing a virtual machine operation. So that is going to come under infrastructure as a service. Alright, so what are the various services Azure Cloud offers? So there is a compute stack where you have virtual machines, you have scale sets. Like if you want to scale up your virtual machines, you can have some definitions and do that. There are cloud services, there are batch processing services, there are remote applications to connect to your virtual machines up there, and there is service fabric, Azure container services like Docker containers can be run in the Azure cloud. Then you have mobile and web apps. You have data storage platforms. You have analytics platform for data analytics and business intelligence. You have IoT. You have media and CDN services and security services like identity and access management for policy management and access control. So there are lots of services. So right now we'll be focusing on virtual machines, which comes under the compute stack. So all these services would be available in a Azure scenario. When you create your Azure account and log into the Azure portal, you will see all these services up in the dashboard. Now this diagram explains how Azure actually interacts with us. So when we open up the Azure portal, like here there is another link. If I log in here, I'll go and open up the Azure portal. So when we do that, the Azure portal will take in inputs from us. So the portal in the backend calls an API using REST API endpoints and connects to the Azure cloud and sends in our requests. Say we send in a request to create a virtual machine, it will go and hit the API endpoints in the Azure cloud and do just that. Similarly, you can use the Azure CLI, a command line interface, to do the same things. So these are the two ways using CLI and a portal you can connect to the Azure cloud and do your operations. So we'll do all that, and later on in some other guided project we'll be covering various other tools known as Azure DevOps tools. So this is not in the scope of today's guided project, so we'll skip that. Let's go back to our repository, and let's now log into the Azure portal. Now to log into the Azure portal, right click here on this bookmark and open it in a new tab. So that will require you to sign in to your Azure account. So I hope you have created your Azure account. If you have not created it, as I said, you can follow this video to understand how to do that and do just that. And now I will skip this part of the video so that I'll put in my credentials and log in. So here we have logged into the portal. So I hope you would have done that too. And once you log in, and if you have subscribed to the free Azure account, then you will see a pop-up here as well, which notifies that you have $200 credits. So you would not have to pay it, provided you remain under this credit limits and you do not forget to remove your running servers after you do the tasks. So let me close this one. So this is the Azure Portal. Now it has various of these icons which allow you to create resources, create virtual machines, go to the cost management dashboard, go to the database creation dashboards, and so on. Awesome. So now you have a basic understanding of what Azure Cloud is and what the Azure dashboard looks like, and you have already logged into your own Azure dashboards. Kudos to you for that. In the upcoming tasks, we'll use the Azure dashboard to create virtual machines. Keep learning. Looking forward to see you soon.